You have to, no, somebody has to do that.
These babies are.
Oh, you might want to tie it this way. Maybe that way?
I need a chair. There we go. You can see how they bolt on this.
Certified all those inside this, those are servers?
Yeah, and there's controller servers, and
Okay, those are all certified by themselves.
Here the Alps unit is on its pallet where testing has been conducted this week, Tuesday and Wednesday. It's Thursday morning, and the intent is to remove the unit from its pallet. If you look down here at the feet, you'll see a number of Allen head bolts that are securing it to the pallet. It's a custom pallet, not your normal one. You'll see supporting brackets here on the corners. The ramps are attached to the sides of the unit. And so what you see here is that this ramp is going to unbolt. There are ears down here on either side that are going to attach in the front. And the pallet has pilot holes drilled in the front for the attachment of those ramps. It also has lag screws attached, 4 lag screws, 2 for each ramp, that will be attaching here and here so that we can roll the unit off the ramp. Now in the front, you can't see, but behind this plate there are 2 wide rollers. 208 volt power is being supplied in the rear of the unit. There are 2 cords available for redundant supplies. You see those on the floor here, going through the set of double doors. Since the unit is too tall to fit in this test space, it is being tested out in that area adjacent to the roll-up doors. It's unplugged at the moment, but this is where the 208 volts is connected. The testing hardware is adjacent to the Alps on this table in the lab. You'll see the switch here, which is wired to the unit through these cables that were supplied by Celestica. The bulk of this will be disconnected when we roll it off the ramp here when Dawn arrives. So at present we're removing the 12 Allen head bolts that are securing the Alps to the pallet. On this side you can see one corner has already been removed. This other corner bracket will be next, and we'll have to remove the 3 hex bolts that are securing the bracket to the Alps. So now you can see all 4 corner restraints to the pallet have been removed. The racks are in place, aligned with the pilot holes in the pallet. They have not yet been attached with the lag screws, but that'll be the next step. Here's a closer view of the caster in the front. Actually, it's a fixed wheel in the front, and if you look in the rear, it is a caster to track the front wide rollers. If all goes well, we'll be tracking down this ramp onto the floor. Now you can see the ramps being attached to the front of the pallet using the lag screws that were taped to the corner brace. On all 4 corners you'll see fixed feet for leveling. At present they're as high as they can go with the locking nuts backed up as high toward the frame as possible. Nice thing is everything is 13 millimeters as far as the bolts and lag screws, and then one size for the Allen head bolts that secured the brackets in here. So there were 12 Allen head bolts and 12 hex bolts attaching the bracket to the corners of the Alps. So everything is sitting over here waiting for eventual reattachment. And as I pointed out earlier, you can see the padding that was put on the brackets here to not mar the frame of the cabinet when the brackets are attached. So these brackets can serve the purpose of stabilizing the unit onto the pallet as well as earthquake restraints if necessary, it appears. So here's a shot underneath the Alps unit. You can see the bolt head of the lag screw that's attaching the ramp to the pallet at about the center lower of the screen. When it rolls off onto the ramp, you'll see the elevator feet in the background. It has to ride over the top of that bolt head just to the left of this rail that you see here. So there's very little clearance between the two of those, so the bottom of that elevator foot can hit the top of that hex head. So what we've done is we've made a change in the design and put in a lag screw that has a very flat head that you'll see in this application. Only the inner one. The outer one's going to remain a hex head, and this original one here on the right, we're going to change it here momentarily. To ease the transition of the wheels onto the ramp, we've put some cardboard in front of that. Alternatively, we have some plastic that can be used. Similarly, at the end of the ramp, we have some cardboard down here to helpfully not mar the floor quite as much, because that edge is sitting out there sort of unsuspended, so it'll tend to dig in. Now that the lower head lag bolt is installed, you can see there's a lot more clearance between the top of that lag screw and that elevator feet in the distance when it rides over the top. It's still going to have to go to the left of this rib that you see in the middle here, however. Here's a picture of the 2 lag screws. The one you see here on the left is the original with a hex head. Here's the one that was replaced. It's an Allen head top, but it's very shallow. It's a lag screw as well, but the shaft is a little bit smaller in diameter, but it does seem to have enough bite to hold the ramp firmly to the pallet.
And we're going to make sure that the wheels go onto the ramps very slowly. Okay? There's danger of collision, and that's what for these things. So what we need to make sure is these things just barely clear the ramp width. Right? Okay. So as we do this, slow is important. Okay? We're going to have a couple guys that are, if you will, belaying or holding this back. Sure. And then a couple pushing forward. And then we're going to have a supervisor watching the wheels to make sure that they don't turn. Okay? So, supervisor, why don't you be the supervisor? Okay? Okay, so the supervisor sits in the back, comes in the back, and watches the wheels and makes sure they just keep going straight. If you see them turning, say something. Okay? The idea is we'll just slowly bring it down, straight, anybody has any feedback and they see something, just say something there, right there, okay?
Should we have one guy on each side and then one guy in the center?
Well,
Because it'll take
You want
quite a
to
bit
have-
of momentum to push it too from the back.
You need
A lot
people
of
in the
force,
back.
Yeah.
Yeah.
but we
It's really
need
heavy.
two guys, the strongest guys should be here.
Okay.
One on each side, then we can get some of the not as strong in the back.
Okay. There's going to be some momentum coming down, so
Yes.
we should have a third person in the middle.
Oh, you need to do some resistance.
Yeah, one here, one on this side, and then one
That's
say,
fine.
up higher. Here.
That's fine.
Okay.
Again, you know, safety is everything. So if there's any kind of sign that this thing's going to move off, you have to say something right away. Okay. All right.
Okay.
Other questions? Okay, let's decide who's going to do what. You're one of the guys up
Take
here.
this side.
Okay. And the next strongest guy, are you going to video, Steve?
I am. We need to have this documented.
Okay, you're the next strongest guy. I guess maybe you and I.
Okay.
Does that make sense? Okay, Don, you and Tom and Don, you guys get from, who wants to be in the middle? Maybe Don, or me. Maybe I'll take it.
Yeah.
So,
I guess the other thing to keep in mind, it's going to take a little more energy initially because the back two wheels are casters and they're crooked right now. They're not aligned with the front wheels.
Is it possible to move those manually?
no, we have to move forward and they'll straighten out.
Okay.
So let's move forward a couple inches toward us, and I don't know if you can do that. I think we might need another horsepower. Yeah. Okay, so that's enough. That's enough. Now, check the wheels and see if they're straight. A little crooked.
I think it'll straighten out, but
Yeah, because it very end.
That looks pretty good.
yeah.
Actually, that looks pretty good. Okay, so,
When you go on, I'll go and do the same thing.
we'll just give us a little push. Good. Good. Okay, now see where our line is good. We're good.
Good.
Are the wheels good?
Yes.
Okay. Give it a little push. Okay, here we go. Now this is what's important. Another little push. Okay, now let's just walk it down. Supervisor, how are the wheels?
They'll be good.
Okay, you're good. Keep going. Slow as you can.
Okay, watch out on this side.
What's happening?
Watch out on this side, on Rob's side.
What is happening?
Mine is, the wheel might hit the corner.
Is the wheel straight?
Yes, it is, but it's gonna hit the corner.
Go ahead to the corner.
Yes, move it this way.
Okay, I'm gonna look at this. Can you guys hold it? I think it's okay.
Yeah, it looks lined up all right.
I think it's okay.
What about that cardboard on the other side at the transition? Is that still there or is it moved?
How's the wheel?
Love it. Do something.
It's heavy. Keep going. All right.
Yeah. Congratulations.
Good job.
Okay,
Okay, we're at about 7 degrees
we're at
with the dual pallet lift approach. The wheels are chalked up in the back so they won't slip. This is the most stable dimension of everything, of course. Side to side, would be less stable.
nothing's slipping, right? Nothing's slipping right at this moment. Oh, Lord, I hate this. I'm about a half degree off, would you say?
Yeah, about a degree off, yes.
Just say half, it sounds less.
9.5 degrees.
Well, we're probably, she's.
Oh,
Nothing's moving, right?
Right?
But she's the one writing the report. One
A
more?
little bit more, and it's gonna tip over. Just one pump. Should bring us right there.
Now for scale, we'll show the wall so you can see exactly what 10 degrees looks like.
Can you take a picture, Tom? Of the protractor, please? Yeah, take a photo of the protractor and then take a...
Okay, we're approaching 10 degrees on the short side here.
One more.
One more?
Yeah, just one more didn't help.
Is it 9 degrees right now?
Yeah, about 9 degrees right now.
Oh, Lord. Okay. Is it there? Listen.
And it's not touching the wall.
Just tell me.
Just a little bit.
Okay.
Just a little bit.
We've got the rear wheel chalked up here just in case it were to pivot. The front one's in parallel with the chassis right now.
Okay. Okay, take the pictures.
10 degrees. Yeah.